Good. Did you have a family doctor looking after you?
Yeah, he was.
I love delivering babies. I love working with moms. And yet, as I traveled around the world, I saw such a discrepancy between the way women are treated in some places versus another.
Everything going okay?
Here in North America, mothers are cared for, their babies. We do everything that we can to save a mother's life. And yet, when you go to other places around the world, women literally bleed to death and there's no help for them. And to me, as a Christian and one who just loves people, I say to myself, how is that? How can that be in this world that there's such a discrepancy?
Dr. Jean Chamberlain Froese is a Hamilton obstetrician, McMaster University Associate Professor and gynecologist, who has made it her life's work to help provide adequate health care for mothers in East Africa.
Back in 2002, 2003, where a group of us got together and said, how do we bring about the systemic change that is needed for safe motherhood?
We'll just take a moment just to have a look inside.
There's a lot of social and cultural issues that keep women from delivering in a safe place.
For half of the women do not have a skilled attendant with them.
So instead of just taking a medical approach and saying, well, let's build more hospitals and train more health workers, together with some colleagues of mine in Uganda, we really brainstormed together to say, how do we get non-medical people involved? How do we get politicians, journalists, social scientists, faith leaders involved in saving the lives of mothers? You know, it's not by chance that we have good health care for mothers here in Canada. All of those people behind the scenes are advocating for safe motherhood because it's what we do. We value women.
How does a young woman born in St. Thomas, Ontario, end up changing things for women half a world away in East Africa?
By the time I was 7 or 8 years old, I wanted to be a missionary doctor somewhere in East Africa, but I didn't really realize what my role would be. I thought I would be doing mostly clinical work, standing there saving babies. I think my parents really instilled in me just that heart for people who do not have, and that you've been blessed with so much, so what can you do? Not out of guilt, but really just out of joy in your heart, and I think that's been one of the greatest gifts that they've given me.
Expect the men to provide the shelter.
So the Save the Mothers program is a Masters of Public Health Leadership program that's held at the Uganda Christian University. And every year we're taking 60 students into the program. These students are not regular students. They are professionals working in various spheres of influence. They may be in parliament, they may be in the media, they may be in faith communities, they may work for various non-governmental organizations that are involved in some sort of development in the country.
Roughly 200 East African professionals have graduated from the program, each in turn influencing at least 1,000 others in their sphere.
Everybody got it?
Yeah.
Any questions? Please, very important for you to understand that. Okay?
Froese's tireless work has earned her the Prix d'Excellence, a Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada award that recognizes doctors who go beyond the call of duty.
You want to be a midwife or a doctor? You know, I heavily believe in the importance of training people on the ground in these developing countries. If we're just going over and giving aid is not enough to help the mothers 10 years from now. We need to be changing systems in these developing countries so that there's safe motherhood available for mothers even 15 years from now. Sit down. Did everybody wash their hands? Did everybody wash? Okay. All right.
Father in heaven, we do thank you for this food. We ask that you bless it. We thank you for...
Somebody took a photo of me back in 1998, and then Tom happened to see it in 1999, and being a journalist and rather bold, he actually ended up calling me through a mutual connection, and we ended up becoming friends, and that's really how we met.
You did a whole lap around it.
That's great.
Now, were you in there because it was raining?
I always joke with people I was never going to marry a doctor, and marrying a journalist was a great selection in terms of my career, and I think it has been for Tom to also marry a doctor. And I remember asking him, are you willing to go overseas? Because I knew that was where my career was going to be, and he said nope. So I kind of stroked him off the list, but God gave him a change of heart, and I think his career has really blossomed since he's been overseas.
Married for 11 years, Jean and Tom and their 3 children spend 8 months of the year living in Uganda.
Elizabeth is 9 years of age, born at St. Joseph's Hospital here in Hamilton. Jonathan is 7, also born here, and then Hannah is 6. She's our little Ugandan daughter.
So living in Uganda for 8 months and living in Canada for 4 months a year is an incredibly healthy way for the family to go through our days. The children are getting an education beyond what any money could buy.
They go to school in Uganda, they go to an international school, and they also attend school for a short while they're here in Canada. I'm so aware, and my husband together, of how important it is for us to make a good life for the children as well, too, that they're not just tag-alongs, that they're very much part of the work that we do. And certainly in the developing world, as a woman, having children is just so important. That's the first thing a woman will ask you. And so she can relate so much more to you if you say, yes, I have children. Now, of course, being a mother here in North America is very different than being one in Uganda, but it helps me to be able to share some of the struggles that those women have.
Each year in Uganda, 7,000 women die of pregnancy-related complications. Save the Mothers is changing that for women like Helen. A cesarean section saved her life and the life of her baby. Now they're both going home.
Well, I think the center line for me is understanding who I am before God, that I'm a person that He has created, that He loves, that He has a purpose for my life. And I think that has really just given me the courage, even in situations that are difficult, to say, you know what, this is what God has called me to do. And it's been fantastic to see the work overseas developing. Sometimes you feel like there's this wind behind you, pushing you and showing you the right direction, because quite frankly, it's a new area. Safe motherhood, we don't know all the solutions yet. Talked about a wise man uses his words carefully. I think the challenges to reaching the goal of no mother or child should die from pregnancy-related complications is really to bring the swell of people who are engaged in safe motherhood to a critical mass in the developing world, so that there's a change in expectation that no mother or child should die. But we look at the developing world and we see a child who loses its mother under the age of 5. That child is 5 times more likely to die of something than a child who has a mother. And that really cemented to me how important it is to have mothers who are alive and who are healthy to look after their children. And that's what's going to make the next generation. Those young children are the future generation of any country. And I think having seen the program now for 7 years and seeing these East African professionals themselves impacting their own society, that there couldn't be a greater feeling than to seeing the people that you've trained actually going out and doing what you have encouraged them to do.